Hey, everybody. Sorry today that we're having a little bit of a glitch with our intro video, but we are back.
Hey, Sim, welcome to the show.
Oh, my Lord.
What are you doing?
So, we have changed our name. We are no longer Get Sweaty. We have rebranded the show as The Northern Countdown. Same show, same folks, different name. I am your friendly neighborhood soda, joined as always by Ben Bigfoot Drainer and Uncle 50 Shades of Geek. And today, Simba. How are you guys doing?
I'm fine. How are you? No answer.
I'm good. This is going to be interesting.
This is going to be fun because I can guarantee you there are two that I have that will not be on your list. The third one's a maybe.
And here's the thing: there's something completely forgot to mention, that we also have a brand new rule on this new rebrand of the show, which is no one is allowed to rudely burst onto the green room to yell at any one of the hosts, right?
No.
Oh, why?
It was a one-time thing. Yeah, but one of the things we do encourage is if you have any crossovers that you enjoy, or put them in the comments. Like, that's what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to make this show as interactive as possible compared to how it was before. So let's just start off right off the bat. Since it was my list, I will start. So for my number 5, we go all the way back to Batman 66, and it is when Batman crossed over with the Green Hornet.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, that was my very first exposure to what a crossover was, and it was very, very unique. Both made by the same production company, so they figured, why the heck not? They put them together, and then they, I wish I could remember the story off the top of my head, but it was a 2-part crossover episode, and it was really, really cool to see Batman give the rub to the Green Hornet like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
When I did some research to help me refine my list, turns out people didn't really like that crossover.
That's true. People didn't like it, for sure. But it is very much one that stuck in my head, for sure. It was a second season episode. They had a cameo in the Spell of Tut. And then later in the season, they were part of the 2-parter Piece of the Action / Batman's Satisfaction, where they each tasked with taking down the criminal Colonel Gum. Green Hornet and Kato's secret identities are also seen and interact with Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. It is also mentioned that Britt Reed and Bruce Wayne have been acquaintances and rivals since childhood.
Yeah.
I might have to check that out. That sounds good.
Yeah, it was pretty good pretty good, in my opinion, a good crossover.
The thing about crossovers, especially with superheroes, is what I love best about it is it's not just the superhero personas crossing over with each other. It's also the alter egos of the superhero personas crossing over, like Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson with Green Hornet and Kato's alter egos. Yeah.
And
have you ever read the Superman Spider-Man crossover once?
No, but I do have a Superman Fantastic Four crossover.
No, because in that one specifically, it starts out as like Peter Parker and Clark Kent go to the same like journalist convention, and there's like Mary Jane and Lois Lane have a girls' night out, and J. Jonah Jameson is meeting up with
Frenchie.
J. Jonah Jameson and what's his face?
Perry White.
No, not Perry White, because at that time was like one of the crime bosses who was running the Daily Planet at the time.
Morgan Edge,
yeah, that's the one. So it's Morgan Edge and Jason Jameson having a drink at a bar or something like that. In addition to having like Lex Luthor and Dr. Octopus teaming up with each other. So it was the definition of a crossover. I have my issues with that comic, but it's like the archetype for good crossovers.
That reminds me, I do want to say we did have one caveat going into this. We were excluding DC and Marvel because those are designed to be crossovers.
Wait a minute. I thought we were just excluding the MCU and Arrowverse.
Well,
not
yeah,
the-
that's what I meant. The MCU and the Arrowverse because they were
Oh, okay,
crossovers.
good. Because one of mine is from one of those, but not MCU or Arrowverse.
It's just those ones are too easy because, like I said, those TV shows are in the same universe. So I mean, you're gonna get crossovers no matter what.
Although I would argue, talking about TV shows only, we haven't had a MCU crossover yet.
Dude, it's called the Netflix shows.
They don't count. They're not.
No, but they do count because they cross over with each other. Not necessarily the. I thought that's what it meant.
I wouldn't call those MCU. I wouldn't call those Marvel and Netflix, but I wouldn't call it MCU.
But I mean, same with like if you include WandaVision and Loki and all that stuff, like that those if there's crossovers in there, I wouldn't have counted them anyways because those shows are designed to be crossovers, just like the movies are, right?
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm
No, for sure. But all right, let's move on. 50. What is your number 5?
Okay, but before we move on to my number 5, Soda, can you do me a favor? Can you set a timer for a second there?
Give me a second here. Let me know when you're ready. What do you need? To stopwatch or timer?
Just a timer.
Okay, stopwatch. Let's do this.
Okay, so I just want to see how long it's gonna take before Jess shows up to yell at me for my number 5 pick again.
Well, $5? She's probably not awake.
I think she's gonna wake up as soon as she's gonna hear my number 5.
Okay, well, let's hear it and go.
Okay, so my number 5 is From the Desert Comes a Stranger from the Book of Boba Fett. And hear me out first. It is a crossover because it is an episode of the Book of Boba Fett that heavily focuses on the Mandalorian from another show.
Yeah.
It's got Ahsoka Tano in it from Clone Wars and Rebels. R2-D2 and Luke Skywalker show up from Return of the Jedi. And it's got Black Chrysanthemum from the comics. It's got Cobb Vanth, who also appeared in The Mandalorian. It's a mishmash. It's got Cad Bane, who was in Clone Wars and The Bad Batch. It's a crossover.
Can I just say, hold on, can I just say something before you continue? Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen.
Like me. I know about the episode, but I still haven't seen it.
Oh, I wasn't aware that you haven't seen.
But you know what? I personally don't care. I'm not actually. If I'm being honest, I'm not where you watch Boba Fett. So
okay.
But I will put a spoilers thing on here. Hold on. All right.
So now that spoiler warning is completely irrelevant, yeah, it's a crossover episode. I mean, and that's the one I asked you about in the green room because it features Ahsoka, who was a main character in 2 other shows, and she's also getting her own spinoff.
Okay, yeah, this counts. Then this definitely counts.
That's why I didn't want to tell what this
one counts. I don't think Jess will wake up, and we're at 2 minutes. So, all right.
Okay, good. I'm safe.
Yeah. But no, that definitely does fall into the category of a crossover because you are introducing characters from other shows and stuff like that, like a Cad Bane and what have you. So yeah, of course. Now, if you want to go into more into the episode, fly out.
I think I already said enough. I don't want to spoil it to you.
Okay then. Ben, what's your number 5?
My number 5, you might know it. It's from the show Rings. It crosses over and in that same universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was torn between 2 episodes. And I chose this one because I don't know why. It's Frasier and Della from Cheers went to Rings for a weekend. And they had a bigger impact on the story than the other crossover I could have done. Because they actually interacted with more of the main characters than the other crossover I could have done. But yeah, it's Frasier and Dilla from Cheers and Frasier showing up on Rings for an episode.
Is it the episode Planes, Trains, and Visiting Cranes?
Yes.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Fraser Crane comes to the island to conduct a workshop, and it's while conducting his workshop that Helen sees him and says he's the man who ruined her life. It seems that he advised her to leave the island and go to New York. Fraser brings her on stage to talk, and while he fails to convince her it was not his fault, he passes the buck to Joe, who then stands up and says he did nothing. All right.
It's funny. I like it because I like my characters in this universe, obviously.
Mhm.
And yeah.
I have never out of the three of them, the Wings is the one I have never seen.
No, okay.
If you look at you, of course, Cheers, Frasier, Wings. In terms of like.
No, I know. I thought I remember talking to you about it, but
you have, but I still haven't. Like I said, Wings is the only one about those series that I have not seen any episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in a weird spot where the only show out of those that I've actually watched episodes, well, I guess two shows. The only show I actually watched episodes from is Frasier and I believe Will and Grace. Those are I never watched an episode of Cheers.
Will and Grace is something else.
Yeah, Will and Grace is a show that aired like years after Cheers went off the air.
It's not connected.
It appeared on the same network.
But it's not a spin-off, right?
No. The three shows in that universe are Wings, Frasier, and Cheers. Cheers was the first. Wings, I think, would have been second, and then it was Frasier after that. Yeah.
Okay. But one of these days, I really got to sit myself down and just watch Cheers and Frasier and all those spin-offs.
Yeah, I'm currently halfway
like 9 spin-offs, doesn't it?
I'm currently halfway through a Cheers watch. I'm in the first season with Kirstie Alley in the cast, which I'm enjoying so far. Season 6. Okay, so on to my number 4, and this is the last time I watched a live episode of either of these shows. It was when Simpsons crossed over with Family Guy.
In my honorable mentions.
How about you, 50?
I have never watched it, and I planned to watch it, and it's not like I didn't have the time. It's just I couldn't find the proper. I was gonna watch it before the show, but some stuff happened. But
Gotcha. Yeah. So the episode in particular is called "The Simpsons Guy." After fleeing Quahog due to Peter's misogynistic comic strip, the Griffins get their car stolen and end up being stuck in Springfield. So of course you got all the matching characters going with each other. So you've got Lisa and Meg, and then with Chris, you got Stewie and Bart. You've got obviously Peter and Homer, who get into an epic fight that probably rivals anything with the chicken, and of course Marge and Lois. No, like I said, this is the last episode I watched in real time of either of those shows because I fell off years ago. But it was bound to happen, and as far as I know, it is not canon, but it is still a great episode to go back and watch.
There's canon to these shows now.
Yes, that's what I read. Yeah,
I think the first ever episode of The Simpsons I watched, and I randomly caught like the last 5 minutes of an episode once on some random channel on a television show, and it was like an episode where Bart and Homer accidentally, and the family was going on a trip on a plane, and somehow accidentally Homer and Bart booked a flight on a spaceship to the sun or something stupid like that. And so trying to save themselves, they just quickly clicked the eject seat, which threw them out into the vacuum of space, and then their heads exploded.
I think that was a Treehouse of Horror, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking, is there actual canon? I guess now that I know it's a Treehouse of Horror episode, I guess it makes sense.
But there is also a third crossover in this episode. Roger from American Dad makes an appearance on Kang and Kodos' ship during Peter and Homer's fight. As he gets sucked out of the ship, he says, "Thanks for having me." American Dad aired its final episode on Fox the previous week.
Actually, well, that kind of crossover. I was going to say, isn't Cleveland also in this? But he might have been back on Family Guy now.
He probably was. And then there is also another famous Simpsons crossover as well that I did not include, which is the Simpsons Futurama. one because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I did go with the Simpsons Family Guy because it was fun. It was for me a great way to finally to stop watching those shows. It's like one last hurrah. All right,
Go ahead.
What is your numero 4?
Okay, well, the one I actually had to look up, and why I needed the clarification that we are including DC and Marvel shows outside of just Arrow.
Yeah, my friend. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
If you have any of your favorite crossovers, don't forget to add them into the chat there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so the one I specifically had to look up because I forgot its name is, I believe it's like a trilogy of episodes, but I think they're titled World's Finest, and it's when Batman from the animated series crossed over with the Superman the animated series.
Yeah, and then what they actually did is they made it into they posted all into one and released it as a movie.
Yeah, a big long thing. It's like the Superman Batman happy hour or something like that, but it was like the first of many crossovers from the DC animated universe, which eventually led to crossover between Justice League and Batman Beyond and the Zeta Project, Justice League and Static Shock and Superman, like so many stuff. And it was the start of, like, let's be real here, the DC animated universe basically did what the MCU is doing now, just way early. And they basically they did the Arrowverse before that.
Yeah, I didn't know that Legends of Tomorrow Cross was Supernatural.
Yeah, in a way, Supernatural Call ended up on Legends of Tomorrow in a brief cameo. They were filming an episode of Supernatural in
same area. They used to film around my apartment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially like there's a lot of episodes where I could like pinpoint where it was. There's one episode in the mid of Supernatural where it's like, holy shit, that's the convenience store like 2 blocks away.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
But to go off of Andrew's point, the one time when Lucifer shows up in Crisis on Infinite Earths, does that count as?
I would. Well, if we weren't counting Arrowverse, I would allow it.
I would have counted it. Yeah, if we were counting Arrowverse, I would have counted it. But
yeah, but because that's why I'm asking, because we're not counting the Arrowverse.
I would have accepted that as an honorable mention.
Okay.
Well, in that case, how about Clark Kent from Smallville showing up in Crisis?
Now we're just okay.
Now we're just splitting universes.
This is what happened with Wally here.
No. Do not mention Wally. The timer's on stop, right? This isn't coming.
The difference between these 50s, I know when to stop.
I don't. So you know.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the tradition.
Quick, Ben, save us. Somebody save me.
Okay. My number 4 is talking about Supernatural, Scooby-Doo, and Supernatural. Of course. Okay.
Supernatural is its name, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Scooby-Doo Winchester. Okay, now my number 3 is another one of the ones that I guarantee you is not on your list. It's from Mork and Mindy. Mork meets Robin Williams.
What the hell?
So, okay, I'm just going to say this right now. The first season of Mork and Mindy is one of my favorite seasons of all TV. It's insane. So there's the storyline. Mindy brings home a record of Robin Williams' reality. What a concept. Great album. And notices that Mork greatly resembles the comedian on the album cover. Mork doesn't see it, but the people in Boulder do because they think he is Robin. Robin happens to be coming to Boulder for a live show, and Mork is nearly trampled by crazed fans. Mindy gets to interview Robin and brings Mork with her. Oh, my Lord. Just anything with Robin Williams as Mork is genius, but to have him meet Robin Williams was just pure... It was just a brilliant.
I'm curious, how does that fit into the criteria of a crossover if it's literally the same act? If it's the actor meeting the character he's playing on is like a crossover with the Robin Williams' comedy shows? How is that a crossover?
With the character, he's meeting the actor.
But he's meeting himself. That's not a crossover. It's a fourth wall.
Believe it or not, that episode appears on a lot of top crossover lists.
Okay.
That's why I included it on here, because it is appeared on a lot of lists.
Okay.
I'm not arguing with you. Anything with Robin Williams, I'll allow because God, we need Robin Williams.
I will never argue to not have Robin Williams, but to me, it feels more like a fourth wall break than a crossover.
Still, like I said, it's appeared on a lot of lists. That's why I'm including it. And it's just like my number 2 is going to fall into the same criteria as well. But it also appeared in a lot of lists, especially at the top. But we will get to it when we get there. Basically, the Mork meets Robin Williams was suggested by Robin Williams to Gary Marshall, so Williams could play himself as well as Mork, and viewers could get to know the real Robin Williams, and so Mork could learn about the pressures of fame on Earth. That was the whole idea behind the episode. Yeah. So now on to 50s pick. So I will say no.
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 Here's the one. Here's one that I did not even know was a crossover until I did research for this list. And so it's an episode of Friends called The One with Two Parts.
Yep, we know about this. Yeah, because it's a crossover.
I did not know that Lisa Kudrow's Ursula character was a character from a completely different show, and they just decided to make them sisters.
Well, the reason behind that was because she was a recurring guest on Mad About You, and they're like, well, how the hell are we going to explain this? And I'm like, oh, that's literally all it was.
And then just two characters just show up in Central Perk talking to Phoebe, thinking she's Ursula.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in the same episode, also George Clooney from ER shows up.
Yep.
Like,
they're not referred to as their doctors from ER, but
they're not.
No,
I
don't think so.
Okay.
So I didn't know it was a crossover, and learning about that really blew my mind. So it's on my list.
Yeah.
Nice. Anytime friends are brought up, I'm happy about it.
Me too. Yeah, there, especially in that particular season, there were definitely crossovers, because we also did have Carolyn in the City crossover earlier. I believe it was earlier in the season.
No.
Matthew Perry crossover.
The Caroline in the City is season 2, I believe.
In season 1, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think, speaking of Robin Williams, he also showed up.
Yep, him and Billy
Crystal, and they just happened to be around that day, and they said, "Hey, you want to come on?" And so that entire thing was improvised.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
as you would as one would expect from a Robin Williams thing.
Oh, you bastard! Oh yeah, great stuff. All right, Ben.
My number 3 is Frasier, the one when Winnie shows up and won't leave.
When who? Woody?
Winnie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm counting that because the shows were not designed to be crossovers originally. Like, it wasn't originally supposed to be a spin-off.
No, but there were a number of episodes where why not, right? And
I'm working my way to that one, because eventually I will get to Frasier.
Oh my God, it's so funny because they hang out together one night and have a class, and then Winnie just wants to stop. Like, Frasier gets more and more annoyed than saying stuff over and over again. It's a good episode.
Yeah, the one which shows up in Seattle to visit his old friend. Things turn bad after the first night reunion when Frasier realizes that he has moved on with his life and left Woody in the past. That is tough.
Yeah, tough but funny episode.
Hopefully, did they end up patching things up after?
Oh yeah. They left on good terms.
Okay, good. Because I mean, just hearing that kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
No, it's all good. I promise.
Okay. Oh no! Just reading what I had just read broke my heart a little bit. So I was like, I got to know that they actually ended on good terms. I have to.
Yeah.
Oh man! Anything more you want to add about the episode, then?
It is a good episode. I highly recommend it. Can you hold on? Can you?
See, no, we're just doing TV shows, and like I mean, we could eventually do movie crossovers for sure. But
Yeah.
today we're just focusing on TV.
Okay.
crossover with movies because that's kind of what I did in my number 5 pick.
That's true. But that's another topic for another day, anyways.
What's your number 2, Matt?
So, Lucy meets Superman.
But
That's what I thought. That's what I fucking thought. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, 50.
Okay. You remember earlier where I was relieved that Jess still asleep, so she's not here to yell at me? Now I'm actually a little bit sad that she's not here because my next one is actually an episode called Rufus, which is an episode in the TV show Lilo and Stitch, the series. So, like, at some point in like the 3rd season or something like that, Disney just decided to have 4 crossovers where like 4 other TV shows crossed over with the Lilo and Stitch show, and they kind of helped Lilo and Stitch find some of Stitch's cousins. One of which was American Dragon, if you ever heard of that show. The Proud Family, Penny Proud, whatever that show is.
Yep.
Recess, and specifically for the episode Rufus, it's Kim Possible.
Oh, that's why it sounded familiar. Okay.
That's cool.
And so they, at some point, Jumba actually believes that the little bald mole thing that Kim Possible's sidekick has, he thought it was one of the experiments. So that's where the name Rufus comes from. And can't remember what else happens in that episode specifically, but yeah, basically they called on Kim Possible to help them with the situation or something like that. And Kim Possible was being like this condescending. You stay here, kid. You let me take care of things. And Lila was like, bitch, I fought aliens. Okay, I need like dangerous experiments every day. You're here to school me on dangerous situations. But I think that was my personal favorite out of the 4 crossovers. I never watched any of those shows, by the way. I only watched Lilo and Stitch.
Me's the way around. Like I watched Recess and I did see some Kim Possible. Lilo and Stitch is the only one of those I didn't see.
So as someone who'd never watched an episode of any of these shows, I felt like those crossovers were done well. As far as I know.
Right on. Ben, you're number 2.
My number 2 is the one that I was reviewing about from earlier, Mork's second appearance on Happy Days.
Yes. Could you explain that, Ben?
Is that the one? That's the one where he wants to find out about love, right?
I believe that is the one.
And he goes to Foxy for help? Yeah, it must be, right? Yeah.
Yes, that is the one. Because the first one was just him trying. I think he's trying to bring Fonzie back to his planet.
Right. It is. Oh my God. See, Henry Winkler and Robin Williams work together. It's so funny. I mean, you can only imagine what went on that set during that week.
So, do you know how Robin Williams won the audition for Mork?
How?
He walked in, and instead of sitting, he sat on his head like Mork does. And Gary Marshall said, "That man is an alien," and that's how he got on. Anything else you want to add to that, Ben?
It is a fun episode, and like we said on this show, anytime Robin Williams is on, has to be mentioned on anything.
Of course.
Yeah, because
Well, I didn't include that, but I did include the Simpsons Family Guy crossover because I've seen that one. I have not seen the Simpsons Futurama one.
When him and Helen. I like that. I like that.
Guess, but that's kind of not what I was thinking. I was just thinking like traditional TV show, you know. But I mean, yeah, I guess that would count. It's all in the parameters.
Okay, what are your honorable mentions?
So I've got on my honorable mentions Sabrina and Boy Meets World.
Ooh, good one.
Full House and Family Matters. First season of Full House. Now, these two are genius. Now, these ones I couldn't include on my main list because these are technically cameos, but I had to include them. When Abed from Community appeared as a background character in Cougar Town, that legit happened because in Community, it's his favorite show, and the next thing you know, Abed is a background character. And then this one, when little Sebastian from Parks and Rec appeared in The Good Place.
Oh, yeah. I have to see that.
Just the background character was at a party. They were with the Penny Zoo, but there's little Sebastian, which makes sense. Same creators, plus Good Places in another realm. So. Yeah, 50 mentions.
Okay, so one of my honorable mentions does actually involve specifically TV show and movie crossover. That's why it's an honorable mention, not a full-on entry. But it's from an episode of the Powerpuff Girls where the Beatles showed up from Yellow Submarine.
What?
Yeah, they had a tribute to the Beatles in the entire episode, and like in a blink and you'll miss it cameo, the Beatles showed up in one scene.
Whoa!
From Yellow Submarine.
Trippy.
That's wild.
So yeah, that's one. Another one is all three, or at least the three that I watched, of the Jimmy Neutron, Timmy Turner hour. They did like three of them. And lastly, I'll round up my honorable mentions by bringing up these three. Okay, rapid fire with these three. The Three Doctors.
Okay.
The Five Doctors. And Day of the Doctor. Because fuck you, it is a crossover.
It is, but they're in the same goddamn show.
No, the fuck not. It's the Doctor crossing over with himself.
I know. I love it that you managed to sneak that in there.
Also, fun fact. Tom Baker in this picture is actually a wax dummy because all the other doctors refused to take a picture with him.
Oh, it's so noticeable. Wait, what?
Oh yeah, so quick tangent there. Tom Baker, when the time came for the 20th anniversary special, Tom Baker basically went ahead and wrote what his own version of what he thought the 20th anniversary should be, and it was mostly centered around him, with the other doctors basically being an afterthought. And all the other doctors, especially Pertwee and Troughton, because Hartnell was already dead at that point, they said like, "No, fuck you. We did this first. We did this ahead of you." And then even Peter Davison showed up and was like, "No, I'm the Doctor now. I should be in this at the very least." So they went ahead and just wrote the BBC. That is, they went ahead and wrote a new version of the 20th anniversary, and Tom Baker basically wasn't in it, and they just used footage from a Doctor Who episode that never came to air to explain where he was and why he was essentially missing for the entirety of that episode.
I knew he was only part of that through archival footage, but at least that explains why he wasn't there, because he was being a dick.
Yep. In other words, welcome to another episode of the Alex.
That's great. Yeah, don't forget, Joe 50 has a show every Monday night called The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, where he breaks down Doctor Who. It is really good. All right, Ben, what are your honorable mentions?
Simpsons Family Guy crossover. I'm surprised nobody mentioned this. the Flintstones and Simpsons crossover TV movie.
I was thinking about it, but it's one that I enjoy it, and I just watched it earlier last year. But I can think about it.
I saw it once and I liked it and just completely went out of my brain.
Yeah, the only reason I have is because I bought. They released a set with all the Flintstones movies that they had released animated, and it was in there. Yeah.
Right. And Wayne Barone showing up on an episode of The Nanny.
They were on it at the same time.
The characters went to the same high school.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so number one time. So yes, mine was the punt from Ben from earlier. It was the Supernatural Scooby-Doo crossover called Scooby-Doo. You see why I'm confused. There's a lot of...
Yeah.
This is the one where I didn't know I wanted until I heard it announced, and at this point, I had already stopped fully watching the show, but you bet your ass I was there to watch it when it aired. And what's funny, you guys have all seen this, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. The pawn shop that this takes place in was across the street from two of my best friends' apartment building, and I used to go to that pawn shop all the time to look up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
So have you gone to that pawn shop since that episode aired?
No, because I was not living in Vancouver when it aired. This aired in 2018. I was already back here. After stopping a plush dinosaur that comes to life in a pawn shop and attacks, the grateful owner gives Dean a new TV for free. While testing out the TV, the Winchesters are sucked into Dean's favorite episode, A Night of Fright is No Delight, of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, followed soon by Castiel. To the group's shock, they discover an actual ghost that begins killing people, including the real culprit, Cosgood Creeps. And the Winchesters and the Scooby Gang are forced to team up together to stop it. Working together, the Winchesters and the Scooby Gang trap a ghost who reveals himself to be a young boy who is being used by a greedy real estate developer in the real world to scare away reluctant shop owners. The ghost helps the Winchesters and Castiel fool the Scooby Gang into thinking it was a human villain, with the ghost boy turning into Cosgood Creeps before returning the Winchesters and Castiel to the real world. There, the three put the ghost to rest and get the criminal arrested for tax evasion. Before getting sucked into Scooby-Doo, Castiel is shown to have gotten the fruit from the Tree of Life, bringing the Winchesters one step closer to their goal of opening a portal to Apocalypse World. But seriously, Dean Winchester fits in this universe. Oh my Lord. Whoever came up with this idea deserves all the awards. Like this, if I'm not mistaken, this is like one of the highest rated episodes of Supernatural ever.
Why did I want to say? The ending kills me every time. When Dean has a scarf around him and he says, he's so happy, he says,
oh, yeah. No, I'm actually going to, I just realized I don't own it, so I'm downloading it right now off of iTunes.
It's a great episode. I loved it. And it might be the only one or two episodes of Supernatural that I have ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend watching Supernatural, at least the first 5 seasons.
It isn't much, man.
That's why I said at least the first 5 seasons. Because that was your recommend for the show, was 5 seasons. Even though my favorite episode takes place later on, but still, I digress. But yeah, Supernatural, Scooby-Doo, when they announced that at Comic-Con, oh my God.
I can't even imagine the reaction to that.
Oh, dude, it was huge. Yeah. And apparently it was, just according to on Wikipedia, the idea of a crossover episode has been discussed by the writers and producers of Supernatural for several years. The only reason why it was made possible, both shows are owned by Warner Brothers.
I would have loved it if they had a sequel and the Scooby-Doo gang traveled to Allworld and they had to team up in live action.
And here's fun for you. They have Frank Welker, who is the one and only voice of Scooby-Doo and Fred, and Matthew Lillard as Shaggy Rogers. Matthew Lillard is in there.
I would have expected no less.
Yes, of course. All right, 50. What is your number one?
So quick notes. I would have also at one point considered the episode where Johnny Bravo crossed over with the Scooby-Doo gang. Which actually
I forgot about that. That was a fun
Jinkies.
show.
Jinkies? Okay, never mind. Okay, so my number one, if you know me, you probably would have guessed by now already.
It has something to do with a plush sitting beside you, I'm
Golden
assuming.
Earth and Journey's End.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, explain?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Dude,
Never mind.
It's a crossover. It's Doctor Who,
It's-
Torchwood, and the Sarah Jane Adventures.
It is.
It's a crossover.
I did not give it as a caveat, so I will be allowing it. But he's right. It is a great costume.
Shame on you.
Shut up.
And it's the best episode of Doctor Who ever. I don't care who tries to argue with that.
I wouldn't argue against it. It's definitely in my Mount Rushmore.
It's the big. First of all, in true Doctor Who fashion, it breaks all the barriers. It introduces the deadliest and most dangerous ultimate super weapon in the history of fiction with the reality bomb. Death Star, Pshaw!
I apologize. Any view expressed by 50 is his and his alone and does not represent the Northern Entertainment Group. We do not want to get dragged into a Star Wars fandom war. Thank you for my TED Talk. Proceed.
Yeah, because the reality bomb bombed them out of existence. Anyways, it's also a great Dalek episode. It reintroduces Davros into the modern series. Yep. And Davros in of himself, his debut episode in the 70s, opens with a bang. This episode does not disappoint. It takes that episode and just elevates Davros's character to a whole new level. It shows you why Davros is one of the dangerous motherfuckers in the universe and why the Time War actually happened the way that it did. It introduces us to what eventually became the main theme music for the Daleks, and it's a music that rivals the Imperial March. And I will die on that hill if I have to. And
you will, folks.
It's what also the sharp move between happiness to sadness at the very end of the episode, where they bring the Earth back and everyone says their goodbyes, and then what happens to Donna, arguably one of the most tragic characters in the history of the show, and
the most tragic character in the history of the show.
Yeah. And obviously, it brings Rose back. Martha's back. Everyone else is back. The Shadow. We finally get to see the Shadow Proclamation. The Jadoon are back. K9 shows up at the very end. It's a two-parter. The first part ends with the Doctor starting to regenerate, and that's how they end the episode. That's the cliffhanger. The Doctor begins to regenerate, and that's how they leave you with. And then they resolve it in the next episode, which resulted in two Doctors played by David Tennant. And it's like the genius of Russell T Davies is unparalleled and unmatched. And I'm so happy he's coming back to usher Doctor Who in for yet another golden age with the 14th Doctor starting from the 60th anniversary.
Oh, hold on. Don't go calling it another golden age until we see it, okay?
Yeah, man.
It's Russell T Davies, man. I have faith in the RTD.
Me too, but I really don't want to see you disappointed if it has something bad happens. But here's a question: do you think now that Russell T Davies is back, we will see these characters again? I'm talking like Martha. I don't know about Rose, but I'm talking like Martha and stuff.
I do.
Absolutely. Yeah. To some capacity. There was rumors that Martha was going to show up in the last season of Doctor Who. But here's the thing. Russell T Davies has said multiple times he's planning, with his new take on Doctor Who, he's planning to expand it into, basically he's going to make the Doctor Who the MCU with other shows and crossing over with each other. He's planning to bring Torchwood back. Maybe we finally get to see what happens with the Bannerman Road gang, which, for those of you who don't know, that's the Sarah Jane Smith friends. Yep. I mean, he sort of name dropped a 6-part miniseries with the 10th Doctor and the 11th Doctor. He also name dropped a show specifically about Nyssa from the 5th Doctor's era. So yeah, The man's got plans.
Did Perry recently come back too?
Who?
Perry.
That was a promotional thing for the DVD release.
Oh, okay.
But at least we finally know her fate. And also, before I'll let you all get on with your point, Ben, as in late 2020, he actually wrote and produced a sort of a special webcast titled "Farewell, Sarah Jane Smith." Basically, Sarah Jane's funeral, and he brings back certain other characters and actors that that people have long wondered what happened to them, and so many great things that came out of the webcast. Go ahead, there, Ben.
Can we finally see more of Jenny? Not her name, right?
I would hope so.
I would hope so.
I mean, they finally gave her a show on a series on Big Finish. And here's the thing: they also gave Lady Christina her own series on Big Finish. Maybe Lady Christina shows back up.
I like that because Lady Christina was awesome.
You know what I want to see? I don't think it will happen. I want to see Donna and the 11th Doctor meet.
Never say never, man.
Never say never. You never say never. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
But proper Donna, not mind wipe Donna.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right.
All right. Now that 50's got his Doctor Who. That's true. That's true. We did also have those crossovers as well.
Yeah. But the school reunion, according to Soda's rules, doesn't count because it later went on to become a spin-off.
Yeah, that's why I didn't include any Doctor Who, because technically they are in the same universe already. So that's why I never did include them. But that's just me.
Yeah, the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith
great
and
episode.
The Death of the Doctor are two great crossover episodes on the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Hey, 50, if you know where to find the full Farewell Sarah Jane, could you send it to me? I really want to watch it.
It's on YouTube, man.
The whole thing?
Yeah. It was specifically designed to be a YouTube thing on the Doctor Who YouTube channel.
Okay. Because I really, really, really want to watch it.
It's great.
All right, Ben.
But I don't think it's going to mean much to you if you haven't seen Sarah Jane Adventures.
I have. Not all of it, but I've seen enough.
Okay.
Yeah. Ben, let's do this.
Let me ask you this. How the hell am I supposed to follow that up? How am I up Lucy?
Well, how is anyone ever supposed to follow up Doctor Who is the question that everyone's always asking.
That's why 50 should always just go last.
I know,
so we don't have to follow that.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, man, that means you're the main event, baby.
Yeah, in a compliment to you.
That's just the last act that everyone's already that just plays while everyone already leaves the studio.
No, it's because none of us can follow your rhetoric when it comes to Doctor Who. Because man, you wax poetic on that like nothing else. Again, that's why we gave you your own show. Do you want me to take over on this?
Okay, I'm not doing that again.
You're gonna be you're gonna have your privileges revoked. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that. You want me to take a handle on this one, Ben, since it was my number 2?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this is back when they started bringing on famous Hollywood people onto the show. So you would get John Wayne, you got obviously George Reeves and Superman, you got not Clark Gable, but you got like I said, a lot of big Hollywood stars. But anyways, this one, Lucy competes with her friend Carolyn Appleby over invitations and scheduling for little Ricky's birthday party. When her husband Ricky mentions that Superman is in town, Lucy tries to get Superman to come to little Ricky's party, sure that this will make it a much bigger draw than the one Carolyn was hosting. Ricky tries, but Superman can't make the party. So Lucy disguises herself as Superman, but gets herself into great peril. Fortunately, the real Superman does show up to save the day. And it has probably my favorite burn towards Lucy in this episode. And it's the very last line of the episode.
Ooh.
So it's Ricky, Superman, are having a monologue. So Ricky, who's yelling at Lucy because she's out in the age, in the 15 years that we've been married, to which Superman cuts him off and says, wait a minute, Mr. Ricardo. Do you mean to tell me that you've been married to her for 15 years? Rick says, yes, 15 years. And Superman just goes, and they call me Superman. And then you just see Lucy go, oh! Black. Great stuff. Great stuff.
I love the show, man. I love it. Had great crossover with these two. Yeah, it is a good laugh at it.
And this is I did bring it up. This all files. Hopefully it'll let me. Damn it! I can't download it. But anyways, I'll just share the screen. This is how Lucy thought she'd get away with looking as Superman with a football helmet and plaid shorts.
Why not? They were the 1950s, right?
Yeah. No, I'm actually kind of tempted to go back and watch this episode now because it's one of the great episodes of I Love Lucy. It really is.
Well, I wanted to say top 5, but here's the truth. I can say that about any episode of I Love Lucy at any given time. They're all top 5 episodes for me, personally.
If you guys want to see a hidden gem, watch the one where Lucy meets Orson Welles.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you say now? See, I don't know much about early TV history per se, but it's safe to say that I Love Lucy was the first one to truly do crossovers on this scale.
Yeah, definitely.
It did a lot of firsts.
Oh, 100%. And basically, a lot of people wanted to be on the show. That's how a lot of these cameos happened. These crossovers happened.
And probably the most important thing, and I'm not saying this in hyperbole, it's probably the most important TV show ever. I mean, even what it did, what Disney did to newly rerun, it's so important. And here's the best thing about it. It still holds the fuck up. I want it now, and I still laugh my ass off.
I own every season on DVD for that specific reason. And yeah, you're right. I Love Lucy is important because a lot of the things that we associate with sitcoms originated on this show. The 3-camera setup, the live studio audience, all that originated on this show, plus more. And let's not forget how important Lucy is in television history as well. Because if it wasn't for her, we would never have gone to the stars with Star Trek.
Yep. I mean, that's kind of pulling on a thread, but thanks to her, we kind of have the Shrek movies.
DreamWorks. Wait, what?
Here's the thing. You mentioned Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have Star Trek shows. If it wasn't for the Star Trek shows, we wouldn't have had the Star Trek movies, or rather Star Trek with the motion picture.
Oh, I heard Shrek. I'm like, Shrek.
Wait a minute. I'm going somewhere with this. So the director of the first Trek movie, I think, was one of the animators on the CG animators on the Star Trek the motion picture, which was produced by Michael Eisner, who then went on to become the CEO of Disney, with this guy as his right-hand man until he stabbed him in the back and left him for dry. So the guy goes and creates DreamWorks Studios, and he decides to make Shrek to mock Disney, and he even names the main villain, a diminutive guy with a high opinion of himself. He names it Lord Farquaad, and he kind of makes him look a little bit like what Michael Eisner looked back in the day.
Well, actually, I hate to burst your bubble, but that is not true because the guy that directed Star Trek Motion Picture is Robert Wise, who directed.
I never said he directed it. He was one of the lead animators of the CG anime. That's why you got to listen to what I say and not pay attention to the computer while you're searching stuff up.
Because I know about Jeffrey Katzenberg. I know he was stabbed in the back by Michael Eisner and all that stuff. That's just like what?
Yeah, Jeffrey Katzenberg. That's the.
Okay, you're right. Marketing.
Okay. I think he designed a poster or something like that. But yeah.
Okay, I actually did not know that. I did not know that, but Jeffrey Katzenberg worked on that. But that's actually pretty cool.
So, if it wasn't for I Love Lucy, we never would have had the Shrek movies.
That's
like I said, it's pulling on a thread, but it still works.
Well, that's like me saying if we never got American Pie, we would never got How I Met Your Mother. We would never got I
wouldn't say American Pie. I would say Harold and Kumar.
No, but John Cho would not have me and Howard and Kumar if it was American Pie.
That's true. That's true.
It's just weirdly how the small decisions that one person makes eventually affects, which ties back into another episode of Doctor Who called Turn Left, and I'm not gonna.
Yep. Great episode as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not your nana.
So that brings us to the end of our show. But 50 is your turn next week for the topic. What is?
Yeah, my turn to pick a topic.
Which
I have a topic. I'm just not really sure how to phrase it. Okay, so we did a couple weeks ago. We talked a lot about television in the last couple of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We did a musical TV episode thing. So how about not necessarily musicals or songs in TV shows specifically written to be produced as songs, but just songs, or rather rhymes and rhythms that certain characters just randomly come up with during an episode. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Not really. Yeah.
It's just a random character making up a song on the spot for a situation.
So like Howard singing "You Brilliant Dead" in the Big Bang Theory, something
Yes,
like that.
like that.
Oh, okay. So they just make up their. Oh, okay.
Just make up. It wasn't intended to be produced as a song, or wasn't written specifically to sell anything. It's just a random song that a character came up with. Here's a spoiler for one of my lists, and it's a song from Family Guy. It's I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor.
Or okay. So for another example, will be when Peter says, "Can't touch me," and like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I got it. So
like SpongeBob, I'm ready.
Okay.
That's not a song, really.
Okay.
No, but going back to SpongeBob, the Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me. Something like that.
Okay, I think
Something
I know where you're
randomly out of left field.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this. This is going to be a little tough for me, but I think I know where you're. I can do this.
Yeah, me too. I might need help, but I think I got this, and I have a few.
Ooh, this should be fun.
I think.
Alrighty, so 50. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on my Doctor Who show tomorrow, the greatest show in the galaxy. You can find me on my YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. You can also find me occasionally on this show. Sometimes I'm starting to go back to Twitch now, which is great for me. And you can also find me celebrating my new niece that was born.
Congratulations!
Yeah, mushroom, man. That's awesome.
I mean, if that wasn't enough of a giveaway.
Actually, I didn't even know you had siblings.
Step siblings.
Still cool. Congratulations to you.
Now I get Uncle.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking.
How much more obvious can I make it?
I don't know. I thought it had something to do with Uncle Phil or something.
I had nothing to do with Uncle Fester.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my God! Think you would make a great Uncle Fester.
Why are you doing this to me? Why? After all the money and pain I went through to get my hair back, you want me to go bald again?
No, I'm saying you could be an great Uncle Fester. Like you could be like an Uncle Fester type to the niece. I could see you doing that. Just the funny, weird, out there uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to shake your head, dude. Come on. Yeah, see, congrats, 50. That's awesome.
Thank you, Andrew.
Can we ask the name?
I don't even know yet. I literally just got the news 5 minutes before we went there.
Oh, okay then. Roll right on. All right. So while 50 is celebrating the newest arrival in his family, Ben, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at my Twitter at Ben_Rainer. Tuesday on Rewind Entertainment. Matt here, what are we doing this
Ben
week?
begins.
Yeah, one of my favorite Batman movies. Right here on Northern Countdown. Wow. And Mount Slowdown every Saturday where we go in here on different players. Last week we had Sean Walker on. That was a great episode. Next week we're going back in time and reviewing some early matches from season 1. So come check that out. And Northern Online is on a break right now, but we'll be back in a few weeks. I think I can say that. Yes? No? Yeah.
And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. The next show you can find me on will be Wednesday on the Squared Slice, where myself and my co-host Dustin, we will be dissecting a match from the old territory days with a special guest. We haven't announced that yet, but we will later in the week. And yeah, you can also find me over on Rewind the Tape with Ben. You can also find me Saturdays on the Let's Get Ready Network with my co-host Dagan, where we discuss the week in professional wrestling on the drop kicks. And then you can also find me producing Let's Talk About Star Wars when that happens. You can also find me producing Northern Unwind when that comes back. So on behalf of myself and 50 and Ben, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and video. Leave in the comments what you think are some of your favorite crossovers, because we always love to hear from you guys. So on behalf of the three of us, thank you very much, and we will see you next week on Northern Countdown. Have a good week.
And Simba says goodbye.
Bye.
My